So we were just talking about TCU, right? I said, and to start the show, that I think if there's one team that could beat TCU, you know what, Joe? I'm going to use this from a Texas Tech perspective to talk about like outright dark horses that no one's talking about that can make the college football playoff. How about that?
All right.
They have 19. Texas Tech has 19 of 22 seniors as their starters. 19. Joe, do you know what happens when you start doing things like that and having that many seniors on your team? You start getting to double-digit wins. You start getting to double-digit wins in the Power 5 when you have that many seniors. I think that they're really good offensively. I think that they're going to get so much better in the running game. Valdez is back. Brooks is back. I like their little Baylor Cup, the tight end. They went out and got a center from the portal. They got Dennis Wilburn and Cole Spencer returning, but Miles Price is a senior that a lot of people have been high on, and along with Jannard Bradley, who's going to be playing in that slot. And, Joe, they throw the ball a lot. I think that they can go out there and score. They're going to score. The only question is what is Tyler going to do at quarterback? That it remains to be seen. But I do like what's going on at Texas Tech under McGuire. And he is a football's coach. Like, he is the ultimate football coach you would want to have. If there is a dark horse for me, it's going to be Texas Tech.
Yeah,
I love them so much.
I think that Texas Tech is a really fun team, and I think that they can do a lot of damage in the Big 12. I don't think that I'm not going to commit to the double-digit win thing fully. I'm trying to be conservative on them, but I can see a road and a path for that to happen. You talked about a lot of the players that they have coming back. They only had one guy that went into the draft last year, and that was Tyree Wilson, who was a top 10 pick. But they do bring back important guys on their defense, like Malik Dunlap, like Jalen Hutchins, who was a preseason all-conference player. And then on top of that, Jerand Bradley is a 6'5", 210-pound receiver who's massive. They added in the portal one of the most underrated portal ads, in my opinion, in DeAndre McCray from Austin Peay. I encourage anybody to go pull up the Austin Peay Alabama game. If they're bored and they want to watch something fun, DeAndre McCray, not in garbage time, from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, put up 90 yards of production against quality Alabama starters. Like, not going to go up against the backups at the beginning of the game. He put up a lot of big plays. DeAndre McCray and Bradley stepping into this offense, led by a guy that has been quietly one of the best offensive coordinators in college football in Zach Kitley. I think that they could be up to that level of unstoppable offense in the Big 12 that we got with TCU last year. Like, I see
like Dre McCray, baby. Just say you like Dre McCray.
But here's the two contingencies.
He makes the all-name team. I think that's a Dre McCray.
That is a great name.
It sounds like he should be on the CW playing on All-American. Dre McCray.
Right. It sounds like a side character. Two things that I think that could hold them back, though.
Okay.
One, like, defensively, is this team good enough to stand up and stop people?
Well, I mean, Joe, at this point last year, did we know what TCU was going to do?
Like, TCU was fine, and then we realized that, you know, they really weren't that good defensively when we saw how things played out in the national championship.
Here's the thing that I just get, Joe. They have in their front seven. You ready?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have seven. They have 7 seniors up there, dude.
Yeah, but the 7 seniors always means 7 good football players.
It doesn't, but here's what it also means. Name a defensive player on TCU in the front 7 that got drafted.
That's a good point. Well, at the head of blanking on the linebacker's name.
That's my point. Lineman. It doesn't matter that you blank. You would blank on him because you do draft coverage. But if you didn't, if you could not do that, okay, then what are we doing here? Teams that have come out of nowhere, which doesn't happen often. All right, like, remember that year, the first year of the playoff, Mississippi State came out of nowhere and was number 1 in the country, leading the SEC West. And I mean, they fell off under Dak Prescott, but everybody's like, oh, well, this team's going to be last in the West again. And then here comes Dak Prescott. teams just come out of nowhere. Do you know what that Dak Prescott led team, Mississippi State team had? Like 20 seniors that were starting. Like it was nuts. I mean, when you look at the analytical data of teams that like come out of nowhere, Joe, they're senior led, like all of them. And you're like, oh shit. You know why Wake Forest? Let me tell you something. You know why Wake Forest? I know that they've had, their good times and their bad times. The years that they've been really good, Joe, they've been senior led. Teams that just come out of nowhere. And a coach that you should know about that has senior led programs, Notre Dame.
It's fair. It's a fair point. I have to bring this up too, though. You mentioned Tyler Show. The guy's been the starter for 3 years, and he has been mediocre all 3 times that he's been the starter. And they don't have another guy that's going to come up and challenge him. He's already been named the starter. He's already been declared the starter in June. I pulled it up and checked. Tyler Show is going to start this year for them.
They got rave reviews out of Valdez, though. And then I saw a lot of people in Texas Tech talking today. Not Valdez. That's the Morton. Why did I say Valdez? But Jake Strong, the freshman.
Yeah. I just don't.
We'll see.
The guy has never been a statistically dominant football player. Like he's 12 touchdowns, 8 interceptions last year is pretty.
He didn't have a good year, man. He did not have a good year.
He did throw for 66% completion percentage, which is a very good number, but
he's in an air raid offense, though.
I think ICE is an 8-9 win team back into the top 25.
Maybe
that's my ceiling for him.
But that's massive for them. If they
is,
Joe, if they go into a bowl game trying to get that 10th win under McGuire, he might not be there much longer.
It's a good point.
He's a Texas dude.
Great point.
God bless it. What happens if Jimbo gets fired and everybody in the state of Texas is talking about McGuire? Well,
I made my asinine take where I said that Sark, if they don't win 10 games this year, should be fired. That, you go and hire Sonny Dykes or I'd hire McGuire. I'd absolutely hire McGuire.